Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're finishing the first parak from Eiruvin, parak Aleph. Mishnah is Tet and Yud. Mishnah Tet says, "Makifin shlosha chavalim zel malam mizeh." People who, I grew up, in a sukkah, canvas sukkah. My father still has a sukkah. And when I was with my parents, when I became more from, you realize that there are some opinions that say a canvas sukkah is not good because it blows in the wind. It's not considered a mechitza that moves, right, by the ruach, by the wind, is not considered a mechitza. So, I think at one point I tried to do the lovage strings. They have these lovage straps now, you take basically straps and you put them within 3 tefachim, which is Mishnah is going to talk about, of each other. It's considered lovage. Let's read the Mishnah. All you need is 3 ropes. Right? You just need 3 ropes and make sure that the first rope is within 3 tefachim, 2.99 tefachim from the ground. Then the next rope is 2.99 tefachim from the bottom, the below rope. And then the third rope is 2.99 tefachim from that rope, because anything less than 3 tefachim, considered lava, is considered closed in halacha. So halacha l'moshe misinai. However, the thickness of the ropes have to be at least a tefach. You need a wall at least 10 tefachim. So therefore, if they're just very thin strings, right? So the problem is that you're going to have 2.99 plus 2.99 plus 2.99, right? And which will be 8.97, right? So you need at least a tefach and a little bit in order to be a 10 tefachim from the ground. The top of the third rope is at least 10 tefachim from the ground. Similarly, if you want to do ropes, lengthwise, you could also do posts, height-wise, where there's 3 tefachim between the different posts, right? B'shayara dibra, because again, of lavud, right? 3 tefach, less than 3 tefachim is considered closed. B'shayara dibra, we're talking about, according to Rabbi Yehuda, we're only talking about people who are in encampment or traveling in the midbar. They have nothing else to do, so you can rely on this lavud. Rabbi Chachamim say it works everywhere. A third opinion. He says it has to be, right, to do either lengthwise, 3 ropes on top of each other, or posts next to each other. It doesn't work. You have to do both. You have to have a crisscross pattern. Even in a shayara, according to Rabbi Yehuda, right? The Chachamim say one of 2 things. Now, apparently, according to Ravadia Bar Tanura, this is actually a 4th opinion. The Chachamim argue on the first Chachamim, and they say, because according to the first Chachamim, they said, even though you can do it, it doesn't have to be b'shayar, it doesn't have to be an encampment of 3 people. It has to be while you're traveling, right? If you're on a midbar, if you're traveling. And according to the last Chachamim, which we hold like, you could even do it in the Isha, we can rely on Lavud. Arba dvarim patru b'machana. This halacha is not really related to the first part of the Mishnah, but 4 things when you're in an encampment fighting a war, right? You're allowed, even if it's a Melchemes Rashus, you wanted to gain territory, you're like Russia. So, you're not defending yourself, you just, want to gain extra land. I think people would say that, I think people would say Russia would claim they're defending themselves, but whatever it is. So if you're in a Mechames Mitzvah, a Mechames Rashus, nonetheless, Chachamim were making on 4 dinim derabanan, because it's a trying circumstance. Maybe an eitzim mikol makom, you could take wood from anywhere to make a fire, even if it belongs to other people. We're not worried about gezel. Now, if it for sure belongs to someone else, I don't think you could take it. If it's gezel, then it matter gezel. Gezel is del raisa. The question over here is the suffix. You don't know if it belongs to somebody. And Rove probably tells you it doesn't belong, it's hefker. But even though normally with Mammon, right, and Holchem Mammon Achar Rove, here, right, which presumably, I guess we're going to assume from this mission is not the Darabanan, here they allowed you to waive that Darabanan and assume that it's hefker. Ptura, Merachitzas Yadayim, you don't have to wash your hands for a bread meal, which is only Darabanan. We learn Shulchan Aruch Yomi. Umid, because it's hard to find water. Umid also demai, which are basically produce, which is a suffix, whether it belongs to an amaret. We don't know if Dagach was a maishos. Midaraisa we assume we did. Midarabanan we don't. So therefore, you can eat it without taking off shuas and maishos. Umala you also have to make Eiruvin Chatzeros, which is the Rabbanan. Eiruvin Tchumen, which is Daraisa. It could be Daraisa. You do have to make Eiruvin Tchumen. We'll talk about Eiruvin Tchumen is just to extend the amount of distance you can travel. Eiruvin Chatzeros would be like to carry from one camp to another camp. That they didn't restrict you in a wartime situation with trying circumstances. Stay tuned for Iyum Mitzion, where I want to discuss Mishnah 10 and Yud seem to rely on Lavud, even though we mentioned in Mishnah Ches that you can't have Paritz Meruba La'omid. You can't have more open area than closed area. If you just have 3 ropes, right, a Lavud straps, there's a lot of empty area, much more Paritz than Omid. How do you reconcile Mishnah Ches with Mishnah 10 and Yud Iyum Mitzion coming up next?